Shell versus solid elements in FEA Simulation. Which one is the best option for your simulation models? Here we have the same chassis, the same load condition, the same constraints, and practically the same stress results. But one simulation took 14 minutes and the other one took only 25 seconds. So what changed? Not the geometry, not the loads, just one modeling decision. At the end of this video, we will compare both results side by side so you can see what you gain, what you lose, and where shell elements are actually safe to use. Let's go for it. Hi, Carlos here, and for those of you who don't know me yet, I've been more than 12 years validating real FEA projects across different industries. That's why I created my validation method to teach FEA the way industry actually demands. And today we are going to continue reviewing concepts of that methodology.
Okay, before enter into the project that we are going to use here, I wanted to show you a couple of examples to understand when to use each of them. Solid elements will be always our candidates to analyze complex and volumetric geometries. This model, for example, is a suspension system of a car. And for this assembly, we have a lot of casting and forge components. So it's clear that the candidates elements to use are the solid elements. If I do a cut section, from this side, here we can see how the solid elements are filling all the volume of the components. Good. Let's have a look at another example. Here we have a farming cultivator. These kind of structures need to be very robust because they need to withstand extreme loads to carry out heavy duties. In most of the cases, the arms will be made by strong components, and to simulate these ones, we will need to use also solid elements. Looking at the main body structure, this one, here we could use shell elements. As this structure will be made by tubes, we could have a combination of both. And this is telling us that shell elements are ideal for thin structures, like sheets or plates, where the thickness is much smaller than the other dimensions. Then let's move to the project we are going to analyze here. Okay, what do we have here? This is another model of a truck chassis. I say another model because in previous video we also used a truck chassis for analyzing the materials definition, which I highly recommend you to review. This chassis consists of two longitudinal profiles with a dimension of 200 by 75 by 8 mm of thickness. We can appreciate that just behind the front axle zone, the rails become narrower here. This is because in the front it's necessary to have more space for the powertrain system. We can see also that these two rails are connected by cross members well planned located to transfer the load from one side to the other. As you can observe, the distance between them is variable. If I rotate the model to see it from the bottom, we can see the zones where the suspension brackets will be located. And these zones is where we are going to define the boundaries of our chassis, the loads and the constraints. For the constraints, I have fixed the four faces where the rear suspension is welded. And for the loads, I have applied a torque in the front zone to analyze the global torsional stiffness of this chassis. Okay, let's have a look at the mesh. If I go to mesh, right click and select show. Here we can see how the solid elements are taking all the 3D geometry, right? All the fillets, everything. Very accurate. We can have a look at the mesh details. If I go to mesh, right click and select details. Here we can read that we are using more than 1 million of nodes and around 500,000 elements. We can see that the max aspect ratio is around 10, which is acceptable, as we studied in my FEA course number 1. You can find the link in the video description where you will experience the fundamentals to prepare FEA simulations with confidence. Let's have a look at the results. Let's close this window. I go to stress plot, right click and select show. Here we can see the effect of this torque load, and as I already prepared the configuration of this plot, we can see where is the maximum stress, which is located close to the rear suspension brackets. This makes sense. Okay, let's check now how much resources we use for this simulation. If I go to results, right click and select solver messages. Here, as we saw, we are using around 1 million of nodes and the simulation is taking around 14 minutes. Not bad. At the end, it's a very accurate simulation of a complete track chassis. In addition, we can see that there was a warning message due to the core memory. Okay, now let's review the same model but using shell elements. As we said at the beginning, shell elements are great for these thin structures, so this one is a clear candidate. Let's move to the shell simulation. Here we have exactly the same simulation definition with the only difference of the element used. If we drop down the parts menu, we can see how the symbol behind the parts change. For this case, it's indicating that the elements used are shells. Great. If I right click in one of these and select Edit Definition, we can see this menu. In this menu, we will be able to prepare the correct configuration for our shells, define the formulation, the thickness, and the offset which best suits our case. In this case, I use the inner surface of the beam, so I just set to grow outwards side of the profile. If you want me to review all the possibilities that we have by defining shell elements, just let me know in the comments. And as always, you have the great option of taking a look into the course link of the description where I show you everything about this model preparation among other cool things. Let's see the simulation results that we obtain by using of shell elements. I go to the stress plot and solve. Okay, looking at the global behavior, we can see very similar behavior. We have exactly the same definition, the same constraints, and the same load. If we have a look at the results, solver messages, here we are using around 200,000 nodes and we are taking only 25 seconds. So basically, we are obtaining a very similar behavior, global behavior. We are seeing that the maximum stress value is located at the same zone, and the time consumed is about 25 seconds. Here we can see the summary. If we compare the number of nodes and elements, in the solid model we use more than 1 million, and for the shell model we use around 200,000. So we are talking about approximately 20% only. And the big difference is observed at the total solution time, 14 minutes versus 25 seconds. Looking at these numbers, it's worthy to consider shell elements in our simulation whenever we can use them. Okay, to finish here, let's compare the stress results to understand the total differences of using these elements. Because you may think, okay, I'm running simulation faster, but maybe we are losing accurate. So let's compare our results. And here we have them. Looking at this picture, we can see a very similar global behavior, and the maximum value of stress is located at the same zone, which is in the connection with the rear suspension. And the value that we are comparing is 236 megapascals versus 230 megapascals. So almost the same value. Great. In summary, we can say that if you are working with thin structures and need an efficient analysis, shell elements are your best bet. But for more complex 3D geometries, solid elements are the way to go. If you want to dive deeper into the topic and learn how to optimize your simulations, check out the links in the description. And don't forget to subscribe for more technical content. See you in next video. Have a great day.